What's going on, boys? We haven't done a video in quite a while, and I'd figure I'd open it up with a bang in this new custom Infinity 2011. We're going to do a little preview of this small mechanical piece of art because that is pretty much what it is. You pay the machinists over there at Infinity to help you design your dream gun, and it is a functional firearm. However, the real value is in the full custom nature. Every single crevice, every inch of this gun is exactly the way you asked for it to be, and they made it a reality, which is very fun to do. It's very unique. They're one of the few full custom gun manufacturers that literally will do whatever you want, however you want it. And it comes with a super steep price tag. And this thing right here, as it's configured, is about $6,900 for everything that you see here. The base gun itself was about $6,000. Then you add on the $600 to $700 RMR Type 2 plus whatever the Olight Valkyrie Pro costs. So yeah, you're looking at about $6,800, $6,900 for this. To put that into perspective, this gun and this bike are worth the same amount right now. So what is it exactly that you get for $6,800? Well, you get about 3 pounds of metal that is cut, textured, and colored exactly the way that you dreamed of. And when you go onto their site, there are just an absurd amount of options that you can go through as far as textures and colors and shapes of every single part of this gun. From the grip here, the texture on the grip, the texture of the slide, the finish, and then anything that you don't see on the site, you can actually call the machinist yourself and ask them for it. For instance, I specifically wanted 4 serrations on the front, and they did that. I mean, it's something as simple as that, but it's true. Like, you can literally just tell them whatever you want. In fact, when you finish your build, you go through this long, hundreds of options of drop-down menus, saving and adjusting your build. Then you submit it for a quote. Once you submit it for a quote, this gentleman named Casey, I believe he's the owner, but he also is the gun builder, will call you, and he will go over your exact build and give you suggestions if you might have mismatched something, or he thinks something might look better or worse and work better or worse, and he'll go over any questions you might have as far as differences, different magazine buttons, different trigger lengths, and different mag wells, the grips, the hammers, the safeties, and how you want those set up, and all sorts of race gun features that you can put on these, because these are often used as high-end competition guns. This is set up as a carry gun. This is basically the same size as an M18. It has the compact barrel with the full-size grip, and one of the best things about this grip is this beautiful 13+1 of 45 ACP, or in my case, I always up that to 45 Super because I'm not a pussy. And another cool thing about this gun is I have talked to Casey, and it is perfectly rated for 45 Super. You don't want to feed it that all the time, as it recoils like a bitch, and you could wear out springs inside there a little quicker. But as far as defensive ammo and shooting a box here and there, it is perfectly good to go. Then also you can see I do not have iron sights on this gun whatsoever. And you'll notice, if you have followed this channel, that I do that quite a bit on any gun with an RMR on it, which is anything that I would carry. I completely trust the RMR and whatever optic that I put on my carry guns, so I don't like co-witnessing sights, as they annoy the shit out of me in my sight picture, and they offer distractions when I don't need it. So I opted to go for no iron sights at all in this gun, and it is aesthetically badass and clean looking. He has the lowest RMR cut. It actually like goes up over the window tiniest bit. You can't see that when you're looking through the sight picture, but it is the lowest RMR cut I've ever seen on a gun. And then you'll notice the rear serrations are actually widened to fit the RMR nice and flat so that it does not hang off over the edge like you would see on a lot of 1911s. And it is just absolutely flawlessly cut into the slide. Just little pieces of artwork that you'll see all over this gun. I wanted it with no sights. I wanted it with this sight tracker barrel, which normally over here they would put a front sight, and what that does is it keeps the front sight stationary while the slide moves, so only your rear sight would move, which is kind of cool for competition and stuff. When you're shooting fast, it might help you follow the front sight a little better, but for me, I just have the RMR. And just one-sided safety is what I wanted. You'll notice the hammer, the magwell, and the trigger are all black, like a shiny black chromish looking thing. That is picked by me, as well as the barrel to match all of that. So I wanted a little bit of black, a little bit of silver, and I think it came out really cool like that. One other cool thing about this Infinity is you get to pick your own serial number. So for the low price of $6,000, you can choose your own serial number. Hey, that makes it totally worth it, right? So it's little touches like that. If you want something just the way you want it, you don't care, this is just such an amazing piece of art. It really is. It came out exactly the way I dreamed of it. It takes about 6 to 7 months. You basically need to just forget that you ordered these things because you'll drive yourself crazy waiting for it if you haven't. But yeah, you basically just order it, pay for it, and then forget that you paid for it. And then eventually you get an awesome gun. But this is actually the second Infinity that I've owned. I owned one of them before, and then I ended up selling it, and then I just had the itch. I really wanted another one, but I wanted it set up a little bit different. I wanted it to be able to be carried, and this is absolutely perfect to be carried. I love how wide it is. It just fits so much better in your hand than a normal 1911. The contour of this grip and this specific pattern is just so fantastic. I absolutely love that. There's no grip safety, which is the best thing ever, since that is just so antiquated on a 1911 and is basically just a liability. I don't like that at all. You do get, obviously, you have a custom 2011 that costs $6,000. You have the sexiest trigger that is imaginable. So let's try that out. We have just a little bit of take up right here. Okay, so it just moves a couple millimeters. Then you have what you would call a wall, but it's more like a feather that you're going to push through, because with the slightest amount of effort, it moves an imperceivable amount. And then, let me rack, you're going to get an imperceivable amount of reset. And then it's on the wall again, and then with like maybe 2 pounds, I don't know, I've never actually pulled this trigger with a trigger gauge, but it's unreal. It's really unreal. When you are shooting this gun, you need to be careful of those accidental trigger pulls. So definitely keep your finger off the trigger when you have a basically competition 1911 style trigger in your carry gun. This is not for the, let's say, undisciplined to carry. You do have your manual safety, so that is nice. This manual safety is nice and positive. Actually, when I first got it, that was a big complaint of mine. This manual safety, when I very first received this gun, was horrendously difficult to actuate with your thumb like that. I actually could not do it, and I called Casey and expressed my difficulties with it. They had me send it back, and then they smoothed it out just a little bit, And then I played with it, and it got much lighter after they sent it back to me. And then it got much lighter, and then now it's really, really good. But just goes to show, man, these things are literally hand-built, hand-fitted. Every single piece of this gun is done by hand. So there could be little things that might not be absolutely perfect, but if they aren't, Casey's more than willing to come and meet you halfway on anything that you might have wanted design-wise, or perhaps something didn't come out as smooth as you wanted it to be, and he can totally adjust that. Here's a really good look of that sight tracker barrel. Obviously, these are all just like match grade bull barrel type stuff. Just fantastic. This thing feels like it's on glass, like how it feels to rack this slide. It's just so smooth, so tight. I mean, I can't imagine that you'd want this in some sort of dirty scenario, because it just doesn't, there's zero movement at all. The only thing that moves ever is the magazine inside of it. I could shake this thing as hard as you want, and there is just no movement of any part on this gun, which is very impressive. Take any gun you have and do that, and you will hear a little clicks and stuff like that, which isn't a bad thing, but you just know that this thing is just machined to perfection in every possible way. That is just a preview of this gun. I'm gonna do a shooting video if I can. This is probably the only time in the world where you will be able to afford a $6,800 gun, but you don't want to buy ammo. Seeing as how ammo is just absolutely ridiculous if you can find it, and you can't find it anywhere. But I did happen to order 750 rounds of 45 ACP that I will be able to throw down this gun very soon and get some footage of it. I have shot this gun in my own time. I just haven't brought my camera along and was able to get footage of it. Guys, if you have the money and you just want something of your own exactly the way you want it, something like this is worth it. If you want just something nice, then you could go for just a simple Nighthawk Custom or Ed Brown or something like that. I've had both, and I wasn't overly impressed because most of them just kind of look like a 1911. They're just a little bit cooler. And coming up, we have a video that I'm going to make of all the guns I've purchased recently, besides this one, which I think should be kind of fun. I haven't been fear buying. I've just been buying because I want to, even though a lot of guys are fear buying right now, which is pissing me off because it makes me have to pay more for the guns that I've always wanted. But I will catch you guys later in that video. See ya.